my view, what the next couple of videos are going to be talking about is underhooks. And you've often heard me say underhooks win fights. They really do. There's so many things that, so many scenarios where the person with the underhook wins. And I've got several rules about underhook to go through in these parts of the videos, but rule number one with underhooks, you hear me say this when I'm in your corner or when I'm coaching in a competition all the time, is follow your underhook. And what I mean by that is that my arm will extend to be an underhook under your arm, and I want to take the direction the arm's going. I want to follow that with my body. Now, what I sort of mean by that, I suppose, is like if Cal and I both had left underhook, so both in a classic sort of clinch position, Cal's body is left hard into my arm, and I can't really move. It's very difficult. And by doing that, it stops my movement. What I want when I have an underhook is to have the capacity to move my body in relation to my opponent. That's sort of the point. So if I was to get an underhook here with the one hand and leave it locked on Callum's shoulder and not move my body at all, Callum could easily turn in, push into my arm and squash it down. I couldn't really do a lot. But by getting an underhook and then following it around Callum's body and getting deeper, what happens is I can move from a position where we were at best equal or I was weak to a position where I'm quite strong compared to Callum. Now, in other videos, you'll hear me talking about strong zones, like my strong zone and Callum's strong zone of our bodies, and how to maximise mine and minimise Callum's. You'll also hear me talking about basic tactics of getting out from in front of your opponent and keeping your opponent in front of you. And the way we attack with our underhooks is a big part of that. So my arm shoots under Callum's arm. Right now, that's an underhook. It's not much of an underhook, but it is one. But when I start to extend my arm and to follow my hand with my body and get in close, all of a sudden now we have quite a strong positioning compared to our opponent. So what we're going to do now is we'll break away and we'll come back and we'll show you how this applies on the ground in terms of some grappling situations on the ground. All right, welcome back to our underhook videos. So we've just been talking about the first of the 4 underhook rules. So the first rule is to follow your underhook, and we've done that standing. So I want to talk a bit about how to do it, how I apply it on the ground. And really this is about movement. And I guess a lot of times when I've competed or coached someone who's competing, I see situations where people are kind of stuck because they don't move dramatically enough. And I've heard heaps of coaches yelling move to people and they don't necessarily always know how, possibly, or maybe they freeze in competition. But essentially this technique is about giving you a pathway to move, pathway to get up and to follow. And so when I'm coaching people, I'll often be saying, follow your underhook. And this is what I really mean. It's a way to transition and move from out of a bad spot. So we're going to sort of demonstrate it from a side control defense type of scenario. So I'll jump on the ground and Callum will jump on top of the side control, and I'll talk about how it sort of works. So, here we are in that sort of side control position. Callum's got a good top place, I'm flat on the back, he's got a cross face here, he's got his underhook there, and it's all pretty hard for me. And you'll notice I don't have an underhook because Callum does. So if I somehow managed to get an underhook here, but didn't do anything, Callum's still squashing me, I'm still flat, and it's hard for me to do anything. What I want to be able to do when I get my underhook is follow it with my body and do it immediately. Because that way, Callum won't have the capacity to hold me back down again. So what I'm going to do is I'll bridge, I'll create a little space to get my underhook, and the second that I have it, I want to follow it. So we bridge, get my underhook, follow it, and then I can drive down. So that's relatively simple in application, but there's a bit more to it, of course, than just what I did. If we think back to another video we've done, which was the top posture and bottom posture video, we're starting off here with me on my back in a bottom posture, and Callum's on top of me in a top posture. We know it's easier to put your opponent from top posture to bottom posture if I'm already in a top posture. So by following my underhook here, bridging and following my underhook, it allows me to get to my knees, which is the top posture. There, Callum's in a top posture, I'm in a top posture, so we're relatively equal, except I've got an underhook. So that fight I'll win, almost always. So let's just demonstrate that one more time, just to make the point. So note the fact that Callum, not only is he on top, but he has top posture. I'm on the bottom, I've got bottom posture. As I do this movement, when I bridge up, get my underhook and start moving, you'll note that I will get to my knees. So I'll get to a top posture before Callum falls to his back. And that's why this is a great way to move, because it'll free us up from being stuck on the bottom. So I'll bridge, underhook, top posture, and finish. So even if we're in a scenario where, like a mixed martial arts scenario, where it doesn't end up continuing as a grapple, perhaps I start to escape and Callum stands up and we both go back into a striking exchange, at least it's allowed me to move and get off the ground. And that's the real key here. It's a dynamic and it's a scrambling tactic. So that's the first underhook, which is follow your underhook. So we'll come back to you in the next video with underhook rule 2, and underhook rule 2 is called the 4 dates underhook. Thanks.